Welcome to my next The Last of Us Season 2 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important. If you are caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching The Last of Us, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, I've already seen the entire season of Season 2 of The Last of Us. I didn't do reviews right away because I've never played the video games, although I know what happens in the video games. I think I know everything that happens. And I felt like the reviews wouldn't be as strong without, piecing all the things together. So that's why I waited. I think going forward with The Last of Us, that might be what I do, although I think I have a better understanding of the whole entire series as a whole. I did do episode reviews right when the aired of Season 1 of The Last of Us. They weren't very popular on the channel, but if you want to check any of those out at the end of this video with about 20 seconds left, I'll put that video link right up there so you can check out those videos. I thought I did very good with my limited knowledge of the show, but I feel like for Season 3 I'll have a better understanding of the show. But I started watching Season 1 of The Last of Us because I thought the trailer looked amazing, and it's a really well done show, and I do like some of the characters on the show. But yeah, really good show. So if you're a fan of The Last of Us and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button. Come back to the channel for The Last of Us Season 3 episode review videos, which will probably happen in a couple of years. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel and ask me any comments that you want to ask me in the comment section. So with all that said, this will be The Last of Us Season 2 Episode 3. The title of this episode is called The Path. And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. So in the aftermath of the attack on Jackson, a morgue attendant attends to Joel's corpse. Tommy arrives and trades places, taking note of Joel's long broken watch. He tearfully whispers to his brother, "Give Sarah my love." Of course, Sarah is Joel's daughter from the first episode that unfortunately doesn't make it. Pretty heartbreaking. And then in the hospital, a nurse tries to comfort Ellie as she wakes up, only for Ellie to suffer a trauma-induced flashback to Joel's death, and she is forcefully sedated. 3 months later, I don't like the time jump of 3 months later. Jackson is in the midst of a rebuilding as Jesse assists Tommy on a construction project. A doctor evaluates Ellie and gives her a clean bill of health in preparation for her discharge, but Ellie is forced to check in with Gail before she can depart. Ellie bluntly brushes off Gail's attempt to inquire about her and Joel's last interaction, claiming that the last time they spoke was at the New Year's Eve party, although they almost interacted when she saw him on the porch. Or does she? We'll find out later about that. Gail brings up her own last conversation with Joel, asking what he meant when he said he saved her. Ellie claims ignorance and cheerfully offers in therapy speak as she will have to live with her unfinished business with Joel. Gail clears Ellie to leave despite clearly not believing her, and as Ellie walks out of the hospital, her smile slowly fades as she stops pretending to be fine. Ellie returns to her and Joel's house where she observes the various tributes on the townspeople have left. She wanders through the empty house, stopping at each room and quietly taking in Joel's absence. Finding a box of his belongings in his room, she discovers his revolver and quickly pockets it. In the closet, she finds his jacket and finally breaks down crying as she tries to smell his scent in the fabric. Hearing Dina arrive, Ellie wipes away her tears and meets Dina at the dinner table. Dina reveals she has brought cookies as a peace offering because she had lied to Ellie at the hospital. She actually knows the names of the group that killed Joel and where they came from. Ellie angrily claims she cost them valuable time in withholding this information, but Dina points out that the town was in no shape to send a party to track Joel's killers in the aftermath of the attack, and it would make more sense to track them to their destination later. She lays out what she remembers. The two men were Manny and Owen. One of the girls was named Nora, and the girl who killed Joel was Abby. The group were wearing patches depicting a wolf's head with a phrase WLF, which Dina identifies as standing for Washington Liberation Front, a Seattle-based group of anti-Fedra fighters that Eugene told her about. She assumes, based on their relative obscurity, that they are a small group and thus easy enough for them to handle. Tommy at first rejects Ellie's proposal to go after Abby's group, pointing out the town is still recovering. Ellie argues that Joel would do the same for Tommy, but Tommy retorts that Joel would have gone to such lengths to rescue him, not to avenge him, reminding Ellie he was Joel's brother. He tells her that they will need to go through a formal process of proposing a mission to Maria, which will come to a vote at the council meeting, promising she will have his backing when it comes to it. Meanwhile, somewhere in the woods, a group from a unidentified religious sect make their way along a trail. Their leader gives a whistling signal to a scout at the rear and receives a response. His daughter correctly translates it, to which the man promises to properly teach her to whistle later. And then the daughter asks why she, a prophet, will not keep them safe as opposed to going to their destination. The leader explains the prophet who is deceased is not magic and just someone who sees the truth of the world, and so they keep her alive by following her words, but they keep themselves safe. The daughter asks if she can carry one of the hammers he has on him, to which he agrees. The daughter's name is Constance. He notes that distance will keep her safer from war than a hammer. The scout suddenly whistles a warning signal and the group flees from the path to take cover. Constance asks if they are facing demons, to which her father replies, wolves. The night before the council vote, Jesse trains Ellie, encouraging her to use her injured side more while fighting so that she can get her body back into shape. Ellie inquires if Jesse, now a member of the council, will vote in her favor, but he refuses to say. Before leaving, however, he advises her to write down her thoughts and read them out loud to the meeting, claiming people will not vote for Angry. Ellie attends the meeting, where she quietly fumes as Rachel claims sympathy but reiterates the argument that they are still recovering and in no position to send an away team of 16 patrolmen. Seth, who has quietly observed Ellie's anger, unexpectedly speaks up to reject Carlisle's claim that they should show mercy, claiming they should be going after Joel's killers. With the air clear, it is Ellie's turn to speak as she gives a pre-written speech stating that Joel's death was as much as an attack on Jackson as it was on his family, and that going after the killers will not be about revenge but justice. Her speech earns some approving murmurs from the crowd, but the council votes against the proposal 8-3. Gail watches a youth baseball league game while drinking beers as Tommy arrives. They discuss Ellie's speech, agreeing that she was lying and will likely take matters into her own hands regardless of the council's vote. Tommy expresses his fear that Ellie will go down Joel's path of violence, but Gail notes that Ellie would have gone down that path without Joel's influence. She expresses sympathy to Tommy's concern for her, as he has essentially inherited Ellie from Joel, but warns that some people cannot be saved. Ellie's attempt to hack for her solo mission to Seattle is interrupted by Dina, who criticizes her for not asking for her help and being so ill-prepared. She reveals that she has already prepared a route they can take, which will take them through the pass from which they can approach Seattle from the east, revealing a packing list which includes first aid and provisions. She takes stock of Ellie's weapons, warning her to get a proper holster to carry the handgun as opposed to the back of her pants, a scooped rifle, something to keep Shimmer dry, the horse, and proper shoes. At the gate, they are met by Seth, the one that did the homophobic reference in the first episode, whom Ellie angrily realizes was helping Dina prepare. Seth trades Ellie's old rifle for a better one and briefs them on the supplies he provided before sending them away, with the two sharing a brief handshake before Ellie and Dina depart through the gate. On their way, they stop at the graveyard where Ellie mourns Joel and leaves some coffee beans as a tribute. Ellie and Dina travel to Seattle riding Shimmer while keeping themselves entertained with travel games. At one point, Dina asks Ellie to tell her the story of the first person she killed. Ellie claims her first one was too fucked up, but shares the story of shooting Brian in Kansas City, stopping to camp after a sudden downpour. Dina inquires about their kiss on New Year's Eve. Ellie brushes it off as Dina being high and Ellie being herself being drunk, claiming it did not mean anything, but Dina asks how she would rate it. Ellie gives it a 6 on a 1 to 10 scale to Dina's disbelief. Dina admits that she and Jesse had reconnected in the months since and asks if Jesse seems to be sad, admitting her concern that if he is not just a sad person, then perhaps it is her that is making him sad. As Ellie tries to sleep, Dina admits that she wasn't that high. Their journey through the past is interrupted when they find the dead body of a scout from the religious group, though neither recognize their symbol. Ellie takes stock of the wounds, noting that whomever killed them could not have been Fedra due to the different caliber bullets. Dina ventures off to the path to look around, only to come running back and vomit. Ellie investigates and is horrified to discover the rotting corpses of the rest of the group, including Constance, whose youth haunts her. They ponder if Abby's crew could have been responsible, noting they do such a thing. They wouldn't do such a thing to children. Arriving on the outskirts of Seattle, they find it seemingly quiet and speculate that fighting the WLF would be no trouble. Meanwhile, somewhere in the city, Manny sits at the Space Needle and is asked to give an all-clear signal. When he does, the group he is signaling turns out to be the entire convoy of the armed vehicles, followed closely by a heavily armed Milita. And that's what ends this episode of The Last of Us. So, it is an okay episode. It is a little slow, though. I mean, you gotta have a slower episode after the last episode, which was intense and crazy. I'll give this one a 6.8 out of 10. The character of the episode is going to be Tommy, Seth, and Abby. I try not to give it to Ellie because she's going to be the main character at this point going forward. Well, Season 3 might be a different story, but, I mean, she's the character of the episode in most episodes. So, you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The Last of Us and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, make sure you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of The Last of Us. What would you rate it? Who would you choose as a character in episode or characters? Remember to click right here for my Last of Us playlist if you want to catch any of my other Last of Us content. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100k subscribers. Yes, I know I set my goals high. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDF TV.